Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is going to be between G5 and KawaiiRice. We have G5 starting at the 230 position as the purple protoss. At the 830 position we have KawaiiRice as the brown terran. This is going to be on Python, I think, Python from the starting positions. And it is part of the WCG 2009 US qualifiers. US Finals in New York, which was played a bit ago. Sorry for the delay on some of these. I can get about 2 or 3 out a day on my processing time, but beyond that, there's still a lot of games to do, so I hope you guys have been enjoying it thus far. Again, all for charity, so go check it out at broodwar.chipin.com. Keeps me motivated every time I see one of those donations there. It's right on my main page, or I think there's still an old backlink on SCTGG. We're going to have some entertaining stuff coming up. I'm going to try to do kind of a different take on the endurance tournament. We might do a standard endurance tournament if there's enough demand for it. I'll leave you guys as comments, actually maybe observe them in the future for that. And otherwise, yeah, hope you guys enjoy this match. Let me go over Python just in case you guys aren't familiar with it. It looks like G5 is actually going to scout for Pylon and wants to see if he can sneak in under KawaiiRice's front door block. And it looks like KawaiiRice is in fact going for front door block rather than leaving that front door wide open. You've got your natural secondary down a ramp. Almost, it's very reminiscent of Lost Temple, I guess. I have no other way of saying it. It's really a bread and butter map. Python's been played for absolutely ever. Pretty wide choke secondary. The very next expansion Protoss tend to take. Bottom right hand corner from G5's position, a very wide ramp to hold. Otherwise, you also have a mineral only at kind of the northeast cardinal direction. There's also one at the southwest location, and also behind those there is island expansion, which actually I would say makes early game Reaver play fairly strong. You have to be careful not to get countered by Vulture Drop though, because if your Terran opponent ends up going drop fairly quickly, going Vulture Drop, I'm not sure that KawaiiRice will at these particular positions, but if he does, it can be very difficult for Protoss to deal with, especially if they're going in Reaver and hoping to take that as their third base. Then otherwise you have the expansions just up at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock positions. So at these distances, let's see how it plays out. I think that actually might favor KawaiiRice a little bit. He wants to have some distance room between him and G5. G5, a very aggressive player, very creative player, very smart player, just all together. And honestly, KawaiiRice is going to have his work cut out for him, because this is one of those maps where it is difficult to take your third, and if he ends up delaying on taking his third, which I feel like has been his weakness quite a few times in the past, it's going to hurt him a lot. Looks like he's getting some damage on that probe scout right off the bat. Might even be able to pin it in, which at that just that SEV, and he's got it down to, it looks like 6 health before it's able to retreat. G5 actually swinging back around. He needs to be careful because a Marine about to spawn. He might get it. Yeah, ooh, nice micro on his part, actually. Really heads up, able to pull it out just in the nick of time. Cybernetics Core, Gateway, and it looks like Assimilator down for G5, putting down a pylon to be a little bit more economical past that. And so it looks like he, and actually skipping Zealot there on the initials so he can preserve a little bit of resources here. Looks like KawaiiRice is going to transition into fast expansion here. Only a single SCV on gas. He's already got that factory building. Only producing a single Marine, so cheating a little bit here. Knowing that really 10-15 gate, not very strong. Early Dragoon pressure, not that strong on this map. So you can kind of afford to cheat back on the Marines here. But let's see if he ends up paying for that later. If G5 had sent a Zealot a little bit earlier, if he continues actually to put up the pressure, it could be a little bit dangerous. That was kind of an odd thing. G5 moving up that pylon right to that SCV just so it could see it. It's like, yeah, SCV, you saw that? Well, now see me place that pylon. KawaiiRice not going to get a ton of information here. He's only going to see the one gate, the Cybernetics Core spinning. And G5 can do a lot from this stage. He can do some tech push. He can go one gate into expansion, just relying on KawaiiRice playing a little bit more defensively. But KawaiiRice skipping those Marines is going to end up with a pretty big leap on that command center. He's already got that command center in production. It looks like very, very quickly, about 1/3 finished. Machine shot being placed otherwise, and only a single Dragoon to put pressure otherwise on that front door. So it looks like a second gateway is being placed. So let's see, yeah, it looks like it's, I assume we're going to see the 2-gate Observer. That's kind of the safe play on this map. Might see 2-gate Reaver from G5. Both builds tend to be fairly effective. Either way, he's going to want to delay that expansion as long as possible, especially with the complete lack of Marines. KawaiiRice can easily hold this off just by bringing an SCV or 2 off the line to play a little bit of repair. He's going to end up losing that Marine, though. That Siege Tank should be out in not too long, and G5 with just the 2 Dragoons is going to have to back off to that early tank harass. Well, it's not really a harass, more like defense. Siege Tech about halfway finished. SCVs repairing each other. Nice little micro here by KawaiiRice to keep his units alive. Showing some pretty good early game micromanagement skills. That command center already finished, but it's going to be a while before he can plant it. He's going to want another tank or two before he really ventures out, and might even want additional tanks on top of that. G5 actually skipping his expansion, continuing to produce the Dragoons to just kind of camp outside that secondary. And the more Dragoons he produces, the more KawaiiRice is going to want to produce basically tanks to kind of fight against that. And it looks like G5 producing some Zealots and a shuttle, so he's actually thinking about being aggressive here in the early game. Probably going to go for, let's see if he actually places down a third gateway and goes for kind of a bulldog rush here. It looks actually, never mind, take it back, playing a little bit more defensively. Just going to throw in those two Zealots and that shuttle so he can play against some of that early siege. Maybe just do a little bit of harassment, get that observatory out, otherwise to play against those spider mines. Looks like KawaiiRice with just the two tanks able to back those two Dragoons off. No additional Dragoons moving to that forward front position for G5, so he's going to get a big economic edge, and G5 needs to do some damage here. It looks like KawaiiRice is going to be in a very comfortable position right off the bat. He's already got a nice seal. You can see a very nice defensive structure. He's going to have the turrets in place to help deal with that turret. To help deal with that shuttle. He's going to need another turret towards the main to help deal with it as well. A little bit light on troops, so if G5 can really use this shuttle to kind of spread troops out at all fields, those Zealots, those Dragoons, if he can just basically assault four Zealots, if he can just assault all directions at once, KawaiiRice could have a lot of difficulty fighting that off. It looks like G5 going to try to, he needs to get some economic harass done, immediately going for one expansion. It looks like he's going to move that probe out to the bottom right hand corner to take an additional expansion right after this. 4 Dragoons, 4 Zealots on the front. I think there's only about 4 siege tanks, so yeah, 4 siege tanks right this second to help defend against this. So these 2 siege tanks in the back position, it might be wise to leave them unsieged for KawaiiRice. He may not realize it at this point though. Second being planted, and the Zealots are going to get dropped on the high ground. 4 unloading, going to lose the shuttle, but that is worthwhile for G5 because he's already able to take out that one tank. Just running the Dragoons up the ramp. The SCV's coming out, trying to provide some blockage. Looks like the Dragoons are going to get completely wasted, but the Zealots running rampage inside of KawaiiRice's base, and it looks like KawaiiRice is going to be able to defend this nicely, however. Not losing that second tank, using those SCVs very well to blockade. So G5 losing a lot of troops here and not really getting the economic damage he wanted done. So didn't really, he managed to get one tank. I think he might even gotten 2 tanks. But otherwise, 2 tanks with very little health live. Dragoon did manage to run up and it looks like snipe the additional tank, but that Dragoon coming out with, it looks like just 4 measly kills. I assume 3 of those are SCVs. But G5, after that pressure, immediately planting that Nexus in that bottom right-hand corner and hoping that KawaiiRice isn't going to come around and go for an attack, because right now he does not have a lot of troops to work with. He's got, it looks like 3 Dragoons total, planting some additional gateways. And if KawaiiRice actually had some Vultures in the backfield, looks like he does have 3 Vultures. If he moves those out right now, it looks like he's still waiting on speed, but if he does move those out right now and kind of spreads them out in the field, I don't know that G5 would really be able to handle it. It looks like KawaiiRice is just going to wait for Comsat, though, and play a little bit more defensively, getting that armory as well. It looks like he's thinking about playing more of a slow progressive upgrade game. And that might be a mistake, because G5 now taking that additional expansion. I can understand that level of play from KawaiiRice. He's thinking, okay, I just had a shuttle takedown, I had 4 Zealots, I'm in the economic lead, I can play a little bit safer, I can play a little bit more relaxed. As long as I maintain my upgrades and kind of play this steady upgrade game, I'm going to end up coming out with it. But G5, in fact, already had that expansion up while that assault was happening. So really, I would say catching KawaiiRice, just kind of throwing him off his game, really showing one hand and doing another, and that is really stereotypical G5 play, I would say, is kind of throwing his opponents off guard with kind of just play that you wouldn't expect. It looks like that SCV scout's going to start moving, kind of wandering out, going to check out that 12 o'clock location. G5 technically has the economic advantage, but I don't think he's got this bottom right-hand base. Actually, decent saturation here. So if he can get this moving after not too long, he's going to be in a great position. And sending the Vultures right into where G5 has a lot of Dragoons posted out. Let's see if he can sneak some through and still manage to get some kills. This is actually a really vulnerable point for G5. He needs to defend this quite well. KawaiiRice not able to find the expansions, though. Just coming across the 6 o'clock, not finding anything. Looks like he's got that SCV going to the 12 o'clock. Still not going to find anything. I'm surprised he didn't check that bottom right-hand corner first. Just planting a couple mines to be annoying. And that's going to give some time for these Dragoons to actually camp up in position. So somewhat of a skeleton force. KawaiiRice actually putting up a little pressure but backing off otherwise. And I think he could afford to suicide these Vultures into these various locations. Just plant some mines out in the field, rush them in. Only 4 Dragoons on the front door, but more being produced out of these 5 gateways in the background. G5 now getting that Citadel of a Dune down to get some of those speed the speed zealots out, and KawaiiRice now going out with a lot more vultures. It looks like he's, I assume he's going to be suicidal with these guys. Just send them in, try to get as many probe kills as possible, and then push from there. He did have some comm sets out in the field to kind of get a good look, but it looks like G5 realizing this, going to try to engage on the fort. He has those observers planted, specifically on that front door. He's got a pretty good look and very nice defense. KawaiiRice not able to accomplish anything right into that mid game, and KawaiiRice now should probably think about taking that third, and it looks like he's going to in that upper left hand corner. Just use that vulture grouping to